Cars, at their root, are transportation, and that's all some people ask of them. Convertibles, by their very nature, begin as emotional machines. Even the most basic ones tell the world that the owner is out for a good time, and the BMW Z4 does a good job of elevating life. The top can be dropped while starting out, for those in a hurry to unwind.
I'm a firm believer that if you're a car enthusiast, you should own a convertible at least once in your life. I bought a Miata 30 years ago, still own it. Love that car. Great for days like today.
The BMW, starting at $50,695 for this S30i model, is certainly more expensive than the Mazda, and it's easy to option it up past 58 grand if emotion overwhelms your bank account.
The car most people will compare this to is the Porsche 718 Boxster, which is mid-engine. This one has the engine up front. Also, the Porsche is available as a hardtop coupe. The Cayman Z4 is not, but kind of is. Remember, Toyota Supra uses the same architecture and drivetrain.
Well, let's check it out. For now, the Toyota is not available with this 2-liter twin-scroll turbo 4-cylinder, at least in the US, only the inline-6 that's installed in the M40i version. The 4 here packs 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. That's up by 15 horses and 35 pound-feet from the past generation. The Z gets shifty with an 8-speed automatic. This selector is the electronic kind I'm not crazy about. Manual gear selection is at your fingertips. And there are drive modes, because many cars sold today have them. Let's talk about the top. It raises and lowers in just 10 seconds. The outgoing Z4 had a retractable hardtop, great for security, but lousy for trunk space. The wind blocker slides in and out without fuss or muss and stores away behind the seat, where you'll notice this is strictly a 2-seater.
Why would anybody go with the 30i version of this car when the M40i is so much more powerful? Well, for starters, a $14,000 difference in price. And only you can tell if the performance difference is worth the price. The 30i does the 0 to 60 dash in 5.2 seconds. The 40i, 3.9, a little less than a second and a half.
Properly rear-wheel drive, the structure is solid and stout. It feels a little heavy and hard cornering at nearly 3,300 pounds. Z4's suspension is double-joint spring strut up front and a new 5-link suspension in back. It keeps things fun in the corners with the kind of body control expected in a BMW, but it doesn't ruin the party with harshness.
The Z does a good job of balancing sport and comfort when it comes to the suspension. If you're into a really throaty growl from the engine, this is a little bit on the tepid side. There's always the M40i. It's only $14,000 more.
So, how does it compare with cousin Supra? Well, it's been a few months since I drove the Toyota on a racetrack, but if memory serves me right, the Bavarian is a skosh more relaxed overall. That's not a bad thing, considering that most people will be using this as the ultimate tanning machine, not for track time. Sun worshippers, take note, Supra can't be had with a sunroof.
Wind management is very good. See? And contrary to popular belief, this is not a toupee, and I don't wear a lot of hairspray. Really.
Safety tech keeps drivers relaxed. Automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection and lane departure warning are standard. Adaptive cruise control, blind spot warning, and cross-traffic warning with auto braking are in the option column.
I'm going to sound like a broken record when it comes to the transmission. BMW does a great job of tuning their automatics. No, sorry, there is no manual.
I'm not too crazy about the gauge cluster layout, mostly because the tach moves the opposite direction of the speedometer. It kind of reminds me of the old video game Tempest. I do like this though. Extra gauges, including a G-meter, offer up a lot of information, though I'd like to see it in the main cluster or on the head-up display.
Fuel-saving automatic engine start-stop system? Yes, the Z4 has it, and if you don't like it, it can be turned off.
There's launch control for maximum oomph off the line. Fuel economy, Uncle Sam, or actually the EPA, estimates the average at 28 miles per gallon, and premium fuel is specified. Not too bad, actually, though I saw 25 mpg, pushing it on the aggressive side because that's how you drive a car like this, right? The interior swoops around the passengers like a cocoon without becoming claustrophobic. It sets a nice tone with rich materials, attention to detail, and hefty hardware, though these could be angled better for more natural ergonomics. The door pockets are shallow, so valuables might fall out. Ask me how I know. Seats offer up good, solid lateral support while letting all sizes of people in on the fun. Cup holders are hidden away in the console, and storage is shallow. Hey, it's a small car, and there's not a lot of real estate to play with.
Some BMWs have gesture controls. For example, you would do this to turn the sound system volume up. This one, you've got to use a knob. At least it has a knob.
The iDrive interface, which is now up to Generation 7, is voice, touchscreen, and multifunction knob enabled, so really, if you can't find a good way to work with it, that's on you. There's Apple CarPlay, and it's wireless, which is awesome, but famously, BMW makes you pay for it annually. I'll point out that there are pockets here. Some practical cars chintz out on those, and I like the ambient lighting, but from the passenger seat, it's not seen as easily.
A big benefit to the soft top, a much bigger trunk, and it's the same size whether the top is up or down.
This being a two-seater, surely you don't think the rear structure folds to expand the trunk. Heck, I'm surprised to see a ski pass-through in here. It might come in handy. Speaking of, there are some useful touches to keep this space organized. As for cargo, some folding hardtop mechanisms keep the TP count to just a single pack, so 3? That's not too shabby.
And really, if you needed a lot of cargo space, you'd get one of those.
It's great to see BMW commit to roadsters, and the Z4 is handsome in a chiseled, angular sort of way. Styling is subjective, I suppose, but I was never a fan of Generation 1 with its ducktail rear end and that random crease on the front quarter panel. This is not the most affordable drop top on the market. If you want the convertible experience, there's always Mustang, Camaro, and even the 2 and 4 series, which at least have the illusion of being able to seat 4. And of course, there's the Mazda, which is almost half the cost of the Z.
So yeah, a Miata would be more affordable, that's for sure, but this has more gravitas to it, and it should. It's a lot more expensive.
With your head in the clouds and feet on the pedals, convertibles offer up a different dimension to motoring. The BMW Z4 puts a lot of polish on the experience and definitely isn't just an appliance to get you from point A to point B. It might not be a track star, but on the road, it opens up a lot of opportunities for a good time. A reminder that I shoot these videos, and so I need somebody to drive the car for running footage. It takes a village, right?
Obviously, we're not trying to fool anybody that I'm driving, but ladies and gentlemen, that's the person you see driving. You know, just in case you were curious. Martin Campbell, everybody. A round of applause for the guy that makes this happen.
Here's a pro tip. If you're thinking about buying a convertible, it doesn't hurt to rent one to make sure you're okay with the smaller trunk that they inevitably have, maybe on your next vacation. I wouldn't worry about leaking. Mine is nearly 30 years old. I live in Seattle. I've never had an issue. I'll also suggest never leaving anything of any kind in sight in the car, especially a soft top that can be cut quietly. But really, folks, if a thief wants into your car, any car, they'll just smash the window. Maybe not overthink the security issue. That's from a veteran. But really, give convertibles a try. Live a little.
Well, rain squalls are coming in, so I should probably sign off, or at least put the top up. Got to love summer in the Pacific Northwest. A reminder, if you like this video and you've made it to the very end, so I'm guessing that you did, click subscribe and notifications, okay? It's right there. Click there. and then you'll never miss one of these videos. It's just that simple. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.